Yeah, Jaif, thank you for having me, Kechukwu.
Absolutely. Like we always say, this is the ground where we break every single football story to its empirical state. And trust me, you've met the gladiators and the show is about to kickstart. But then the very first thing, if you're just joining us for the very first time, subscribe to our YouTube platform and do not forget to also leave your comment. And you can be part of the call, part of the show by actually calling us via the number on your screen to, get your statement head, and of course, let's get your position on conversation that we'll be looking at today. But of course, the very first one is the one that concerns Nigeria and someone who was part of that team that won the 2013 African Cup of Nations in the person of Ezouane. Of course, Ugwuanyi was talking about his chance and of course how the Super Eagles went all the way to actually win that particular championship. You want to remember him is that particular man who is actually very diminutive. He actually was part of the side that went to Chan the following year in 2014. They got to the semi-finals and of course the big boss led them to that particular championship. He's actually speaking. He spoke to reporters, in Enugu, talking about the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, where he was actually talking about Super Eagles' chance of winning the African Cup of Nations in 2013. And of course, he expressed his concern about the quality of the team. One of the things he actually said was that this team actually lacked the quality to actually go all the way. He said the biggest reason or the biggest challenge the team has is the fact that in this team, there's no competition, and that's exactly why we are seeing lackluster performance. But Afis, I ask you, looking at the Super Eagles from 2013 till date, right? A lot of persons have actually raised concerns. But do you really share Ezouane's concerns about the Super Eagles that the team is in steady decline? Because there seems to be no sort of competition. In his own word, do you think that's what we experience in the Super Eagles, that we already know who is definitely going to be part of it? There's no surprise in this particular team again. Do you agree with Ezouane?
No disrespect to Ezouane, he wasn't even supposed to be part of that squad, to be honest. In 2013, we saw him in 2014 as well, when he went and he wore this oversized Super Eagles jersey wearing the number 3. So maybe he's not the best person to be speaking about who is supposed to deserve the spot or not. But maybe quality of the players, I can say, no, I won't say a steady decline because, we're not boasting the best of defenses, even at that time as well. It wasn't the likes of Leon Balogun.
No, Leon Balogun was
in 2013. Maybe I'm still trying to.
Kenneth Tomorrow.
Oh, Kenneth Tomorrow.
Joseph Yobo.
And Joseph Yobo, of course. Who was nearing the
Godfrey Obabuna.
Of course. Yes, you can say they were players from the local league. The players from the local league, but these are players are also...
Yeah, he was also part of the local league players.
Yes, fine. Maybe when you are mentioning decline, maybe in the times of players coming from the NPFL, but you and I, and even Mayowa, we know why we are not seeing players even coming up from the NPFL. At this point, we don't want to go there. So, but for me, I think the players, I would say they can match up to the players of 2013. Yeah, I can say so. Because,
but wait, Afis, wait. Let's look at this team.
Yeah.
And look at the team in 2013. Mm-hmm. Is there a place where you can agree with Ezouane that this team lacks competition? This team looks very predictable compared to that particular team.
Well, let me say maybe in the midfield. Maybe in the midfield, you look at the likes of Mikel Obi was there at that point in time. Did he not there?
Mikel was there. He was the captain on the field.
Mikel was the captain of the team. Maybe the likes of Sunday Umba and all of that. But for me, I would say if you look at the 2013 team and this team, fine. Maybe the teams that were competing against the 2013 team, or when we even went to 2013, there were some big names, some big African countries that did not go there, that did not qualify for that 2013 tournament. I think the biggest team that Nigeria played in that tournament was Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Of course, and they defeated Ivory Coast, even though it was a tough test as well. So for me, I think African football generally has stepped up between 2013 and now. I'm not taking anything away from the 2013 team, but for me, I don't think there's really much of a difference between our 2013 team and this one. Maybe Mayowa can have a different view at this.
All right, Mayowa, is there a sense of atrophy in the Super Eagles team from 2013 till date when it comes to competition in the team? Ezouane actually highlighted the fact that when they were in camp, they were all jittery. Only few players were able to actually leave the camp when the coach said he's going to be releasing the names of the players that were part of the party in 2013 African Cup of Nations that was held in South Africa. And he was very, very it was scary for all of them. They were thinking about their chance. And he was part of the home base player himself alongside the likes of Sunday Mba, Godfrey Obabuna, Azubike Juike in that particular team.
Yeah.
Compare that particular team in terms of, surprises, in terms of quality, in terms of predictability. Is Ezouane actually right that the Super Eagles team at this point lacks, substance that can actually lead them all the way?
Well, I mean, it's been a long while. I had somebody use the word that trophy. It's been a long while. So, I mean, it jotted my memory. But in any case, I mean, see, let's look at it. Is there really a competition in our national team? The answer is no.
Okay.
That's just the honest truth. Take away some starters, we hardly play. And that's just the honest truth. Let's start from the goalkeeping position. Take away Anwabali, who is performing averagely, who is the way to go. The defense, Benjamin Frederick's injury has been a source of concern. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Benjamin Frederick's injury has been a source of concern for us. Who is the likely replacement? Who are the replacements? We are not even sure of Shemia Ajayi. If there are suitable replacements, due respect to Shemia Ajayi would be of our team. We've been complaining about Wilfred. He placed one game today excellently well. Shows the quality of a box midfielder that he showed while he was playing for Leicester City. Some other games you don't see him. We complain about the quality of support that our strikers get. We have to make do with what we have. Go to the attack. If Osimhen is not scoring, we struggle to get goals. So I mean, there is no competition in the team at the moment. The 2013 team, there were competition. Why there were competition is this: it was a blend of home base and foreign base. Remember Joseph Yobo started the first game. I think the second game he didn't play again. Somebody else replaced him, and the person that replaced him,
Godfrey Obabuna,
came from the home base. And these are the things we are not seeing at the moment in our Super Eagles. And the reason for that is this: because the successive NFF chairman, they've decided, president, they decided that there's no point growing players from our league. There's no point integrating players from our league. There's no point allowing the pipeline to come from our league. We rather rely on makers as a second choice, and that is the reason it has dropped. So, to be honest with you, if we are being honest with ourselves, there is no competition for places in that particular team, and that's the reason why the guy is very right, very correct. If you look at our team critically, take of our main stars, we begin to scratch our head, and for that reason, I think it's very clear to see the level of competition has dropped, and that's the reason why the quality we have at the moment has also dropped.
Absolutely. That's why the quality we have at the moment is not up to par. Of course, let's go straight deep down into the Afcon 2025 as we begin to extract potential dark horses and top contenders of this competition. Who will emerge victorious at the end of the day as we look at all of this group, as we're going to be breaking down this group step by step. We'll definitely be starting from Group A, but something very, very interesting I need to actually put to bed right now before we actually start looking at the group. Fair first is Omar Mamouche, who was actually talking. He said that Egypt has the quality to actually, go all the way to actually win this particular title. And of course, don't forget, again, someone also was talking in the camp of the Super Eagles, former Super Eagles international, Shola Amiobi, also was saying that the Super Eagles can actually go all the way. But the biggest test for the Super Eagles in this group stage will be the Ugandans. Definitely, we'll be looking at all of the group. Let's start from Group A. And of course, Group A consists of Morocco, Mali, and of course, this is going to be a very, very tough group because Zambia and Comoros will definitely be giving them a run for their money. But Afis, looking at this particular group, right, we'll definitely be looking at the group step by step, and we'll also be looking at the chance of every teams in that particular group, where they definitely will likely end. Of course, Morocco, at this point, they are the most organized team in Africa. You want to say they have the golden generation of football players in their country now. They won the 20 World Cup not quite long, a few months ago. They also, for the very first time, and the second team in Africa to have done it, they also got to the finals of the Women World Cup. Women African Cup of Nations. They lost narrowly 3-2 to the Super Falcons. Now let's talk about Morocco as they aim to redeem themselves after an early exit in 2023 Afcon.
Well, I think the Moroccans this time, they'll be buoyed by their own fans. Of course, they are the ones hosting the tournament. That's talking about Morocco. And they have good players. In fact, when you look at the Moroccan team, the likes of Achraf Hakimi, Brahim Diaz, you look at the full squad, maybe the teams that you say can rival them player for player, maybe the Senegalese side, maybe Ivory Coast, and maybe the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But for me, I think all across they have the good players. One of their goalkeeper is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, to be honest. I was talking about Yassine Bono, who is currently Al Hilal's goalkeeper. They have, in fact, the best defender and the current African Footballer of the Year. Ashraf Hakimi is there. Though he's injured, but he's been given that assurance by Walid Regragui, the coach, that he is going to be, performing and even captaining the side. Roman Saiz is there, the veteran, coming in, a former Wolves player. You can go on and on. Brahim Diaz, Abdel Zalzouli, Azzedine Ounahi, who performed really well at the World Cup. Sofiane Amrabat is also the bulk of the squad. You have blend of youth and experience. I mean, there are some other players that didn't even make the squad, and they have young stars, the likes of. I mean, the players that didn't make the squad, when you look at the likes of Sofiane Diop, the likes of Adli, who is playing for Bournemouth, the likes of Hamza Igamani, who is on standby. And when you look at the players, the young players, Elise Bensege, a blend of players, everywhere. But the thing is this, football is not just by the players, it's about the team. You remember Belgium in 2014 when they have all the players in the world and they were knocked out by Wales in Euros. That was in 2016. They were knocked out by Wales. So it's not by, just the quality of the players alone, but can they play as a team? I think this time around, I think the Moroccans, just like you said, after that early exit at the last Afcon, I think it's time for them. They will have, gone deep. They've prepared for this stage for so long, and I think it's high time for them that they are going to grab this one out by the scruff of his neck and they are going to, show up and show out in their group. But much respect to the other teams, the likes of Mali as well. I mean, Zambia, yes, also they have the players of their own. Mali, you can recall Yves Bissouma, the likes of Nene Dogeles. They have their own, and of course they have former coach Eric Sekuche, who is now a Super Eagles coach. I think they have good players also, Mali, but I think Morocco will take that one.
Of course, Morocco will take that one, but who is going to qualify alongside Morocco?
Well, for me, I think it's going to be tougher than the way people are saying it. For me, I think I'm tipping Morocco and Comoros to qualify because Comoros, they've shown in previous Afcon editions that they can actually shock a number of teams. Zimbabwe also will do well for themselves, but I think for me, I think it's going to be Morocco and Comoros.
Is Morocco your potential winner of the championship?
Of the championship or of the group?
Of the championship.
Of the championship. They have all it takes, but then there are other groups and there are other teams.
So, but looking at all of the teams, do you see Morocco as,
They are one of the top contenders.
So they are not your winner.
Semi-finals.
Okay, semi-finals.
Let me take them to get to the semi-finals.
All right, Maiwa, the last time we actually saw a defender, before the African Cup of Nations win the African Footballer of the Year was definitely 1963, where, Semeni Bwenga of DR Congo, who actually led the Congolese side to actually get that particular, it was actually the African Footballer of the Year, and then he actually led the team, himself and the likes of Ndaye led the team to the championship, and they obviously won that particular championship in 1964. Of course, we are actually now seeing Ashraf Hakimi, a defender, leading the lines again, in his home turf. Is this the time that Morocco will definitely go all the way to actually pick it? Or will the 2012 champion, Zambia, come back and show just why they're one of the teams that sprinkle surprise here and there, when it comes to African Cup of Nations? Or will Mali, that actually fall short in 2023 after, a very, what I call it, sad few minutes of the game where they were actually holding the host nation, talking about Cote d'Ivoire. They were almost, running out as winner, but a few mistakes from that particular game, the game turned on its head, and that's exactly, of course, that game, was the reason why Rick Shell was having pictures of him, water pouring on his head.
Water was pouring on his
head. So, looking at this, the group, the quality of teams in this group, Mali, Zambia, and of course, a surprise Comoros, who is more like the dark horse in that particular group. Who do you see coming out of that group and possibly group winners? And do you see, Morocco going all the way as champions in this particular championship?
Well, I will not be surprised if Morocco do it. Football in Morocco, the trajectory of football in Morocco has been growing, especially their age games. They've been doing so well. The under 17, the under 20, even the female football, they've been doing excellently well and producing, top quality players. Yes. After the World Cup, the Nations Cup followed, they didn't do well. But if you look at the antecedent during the World Cup qualifier, the one that was just concluded, Morocco was one of the top teams that did so well in that particular tournament. Also, so they have this machine that is producing players for them. So our part of the 2023 squad are not, younger players, joining them. So it's a mix of experience and fresh blood in that particular team. So they have enough quality to be able to get to final. I think, and also they're playing at home. They have the 12 man supporting them, and that goes a long way. So with all that come together, and with the kind of performance they put in so far, with the kind of we look at the level of performance of their players playing outside the local, they are playing for top team. Yasimbono, top keeper for Ali now, actually coming back from the backdrop of winning the Champions League, winning the Afcon footballer, and these are the kind of players we spend time doing. So for me, if you look at that group physically, definitely Morocco is number one. Well, there is no tell that they'll be pouring water on this time around. Mali has neither here nor there. They have a lot of younger players coming in, but the problem has always been, harnessing them to be able to do the job. We tried to tell they were playing for in that particular tournament, and few minutes to the end they capitulated, and they ended up losing that particular game where it just started pouring water on the set. So, but if you look at the younger players that they've been able to bring together and the kind of quality they have, I would say, a Morocco first, a Mali second. If you are looking at the best third, maybe we'll be looking at the Comoros, because Comoros have shown anybody, they've shown it that they have the ability to be able to upset anything. So it's Morocco first. If Mali is not careful, then the sport might go to Comoros.
Absolutely. And of course, yes, I erroneously said that it was in 1963 that Semini Bwenga actually won that African World Cup. It was 1974. And of course, the Nations Cup was, 1973, and the Nations Cup was 1974. Let's go straight to Group B. Yes, Egypt, South Africa, Angola, and Zimbabwe. Of course, you know that the Pharaohs of Egypt are the most successful team in Africa. And of course, they won this particular championship 7 times. And they, of course, aiming to reclaim victory. When it comes to, African Cup of Nations, everybody will definitely prime Egypt to actually go all the way as first pick. Of course, I said earlier on that Omar Mamouche also said that they have the quality to go all the way this time around. Not forgetting the Egyptian Prince, arguably the most successful African player in the history of Premier League. Mo Salah is part of this particular team. Yeah. He's doing so well. Last season, he broke a lot of record. Maybe it's going to actually going to be the season where he's going to do it for his national team this time around. Egypt definitely most likely going to be the first pick, but who is going to make it through this particular group? Angola is obviously going to be a very big threat as well.
Yeah, of course, and that's the Egyptian squad that we're having on our screen. You could see that these players are from the blend of still. Egypt has been doing something. They have a knack of going to their local league.
Absolutely.
Al Ali, Zamalek, Ismaili, they pick players.
Pyramid of Egypt's players are very much, in this particular. They are the defending champions.
They have Champions League.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are the champions, and of course they have the players, and they blended them with the likes of Mustafa Mohamed, who got that win up against Super Eagles of Nigeria in the pre-tournament friendly. And of course, you've said it all about Egypt. Egypt is to Afcon as Real Madrid is the UEFA Champions League. Mm-hmm. It is their birthright. They have the most titles. 7 titles, you can't take it away from them. If you want to take it back a bit, you remember the likes of Mohamed Abutrika, likes of Bastiani Barakat, Ahmed Mido, Ahmad Motaeb, even their coach, who actually also played. That's talking about Osama San. I think Egypt, you don't want to take it away from them. Maybe recently, they've not really had that quality, to go on and do what they used to do. But of course, with this group, Angola, I want to say, Angola, they did well at Afcon. You remember the likes of Glycine Dalla, Mabululu scoring one of the goals of the tournament. Then this time, I think Mbala Nzola will come. He wasn't there in 2023 due to club football commitments, but right now Mbala Nzola.
But let's talk a bit about South Africa. South Africa is a team that has really shown, that they can actually grow. They've shown exponential growth over the years. Yeah. Now, if you talk about club football in Africa today, you cannot mention Tukoni without mentioning South Africa.
Yeah, I was
before Pyramid of Egypt, right, won this particular league.
Champions League.
Yes, it was South Africa that have won it. I think about twice in the last 3 seasons. So it shows a lot about how they've really grown, and it's really translates in their national team, because a crop of their players also play, in the national team.
Of course, I was even going to the South Africans, just there, and I think they also have fantastic players. Recently you could see their players. They have a blend also from their local league. That's talking about the Betway Premiership. You could see the players of Orlando Pirates, the likes of the Sifo Mbules of this world, the Oswinapolises of this world, FDS Magupa of this world. They are right there for Orlando Pirates. And when you come to the other side as well, Mamelodi Sundowns, you know how they also do when it comes to the CAF Champions League. You know what they did to our very own Remo Stars. You know, home and away, you saw the story. But I think they have fantastic players also. And Ugo Boost has been able to, you know, pick all of them and say, okay, this time around, they've been coming up. We saw how they gave Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, a run for their money during the World Cup qualifiers. They showed that they are already coming up, they're coming back up and they can do this one. I think this group is actually also going to be much more open and much more tougher than what people are seeing.
So who's gets through for you?
For me, I think it's going to be open, very open. You're trying to put me on the spot right now. I think Egypt, Angola, South Africa, and even Zimbabwe, because when you look at Zimbabwe, they have one of the finest, maybe I won't say the best, but one of the finest defenders in European football, Munashi Garananga, who plays for FC Copenhagen right there. Knowledge Musona is also a veteran of the game. Jordan Zemura is also there. I think they all have. What I'm just happy about this tournament generally, Ikechukwu, is that players are coming in. More and more players are coming in. Eyes are getting more on these players coming to represent their African teams. There are even players that, you know, I would say denounced their English citizenship and they came back to Africa. One is in Zimbabwe, Brandon Galloway, who used to play for Everton youth player. He's playing for Zimbabwe right now. This group is going to be much more open, but I think Egypt and South Africa should go through.
Mayowa, I feel chose to be evasive. Who is your pick for this group? The top two teams that will be coming out of this group. Recall that South Africa and Zimbabwe were in our World Cup qualifiers group, and South Africa actually picked the ticket. So where is your money going to? Egypt, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Angola.
Well, since Mo Salah has not been doing well in EPL, maybe an opportunity for him to get his scoring boots back. So probably, maybe to say Mo Salah, you know, doing the magic. However, batters aside, I think the Egyptian side, they've proven over the years that, you know, they are a team to beat. They have enough quality to be able to dispatch the if you look at the World Cup qualifier, I mean, I always go back to the World Cup qualifier as a reference point. I mean, the qualification just ended a couple of months. How good the team was. They were one of the top teams in Africa. They already secured, you know, their position. Even while others were still back, you know, with the qualification, they already secured it. And they played so well in the particular, qualifiers. Also, they over the years had this way of blending, you know, talent, local talent with foreign talent. Remember, I think in 2010, when Mido was playing for Tottenham Hotspur, he was substituted and he had a split. He had a clash with the coach on the touchline. He was the biggest star at that particular point in time. Mido was benched. Egypt went ahead to win that particular Cup, and that was the end of Mido in the national team. So over the years, they've proven that even though you are the main star, if you are not doing so, we can always replace you with the local players that we have. That's how good, you know, their local team is. So definitely Egypt number one. South Africa has done so well for themselves. A whole lot of their players play locally, and the PSL, you know, it's not a pushover. Years of them is beginning to pay off. The Blues have been able to do wonders with that particular team. Remember the last Nations Cup, we barely survived South Africa. The point that I decided not to, you know, capitalize on the mistake of Nwabali. South Africa will have been in that final of that particular tournament. So they'll be so good in the semi-finals. So Egypt first, South Africa second, probably be Zimbabwe in there. I think the whipping boys of that particular team will probably be an Angola. Angola will promise and that deliver tournament, and I don't see anything, you know, changing with that start. So it's going to be Egypt, then South Africa second.
And of course, in Group C, yes, the group that matters the most to us, the group where the Super Eagles will be doing business alongside the Five Stars of Tanzania, the Cranes of Uganda, and the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia. You know that the Super Eagles have faced off-field issues recently, but remain a talented squad under Coach Eric Oshel, with Victor Osimhen obviously leading the line. African Footballer of the Year, former African Footballer of the Year before he handed it over to another Nigerian, Ademola Lookman, and of course now we know that it's a Moroccan that's actually leading us, you know, to this particular championship. Nigeria has got huge talent. The last Afcon, we looked at the team, Nigeria's got the most valuable squad. You can also say this season as well, yeah. We still have the most valuable squad in terms of, you know, where they apply their trade across the world. Now, the Super Eagles made it all the way to the finals in Cote d'Ivoire. Can the Super Eagles at least replicate that form, or even replicate the form they did, show 37 years ago in Morocco? I mean, we're still asking the big question: how and why was Henry Nwosu's goal disallowed? That question is yet to be answered, but this is not where we answer that particular question today. Let's talk about this group. What's going to happen? Who is going to go through? Can the Super Eagles make it out of this group?
Well, for me, another open group, to be very honest, because yes, you will look at it on paper and say, oh, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have the Tanzanians, the Ugandans, and now the Tunisians. Yes, but football is not played on paper. Ikechukwu, you and I can agree with that. Football is not played on paper, and so you won't even know. The World Cup qualifiers has shown us and has taught us that we don't know the type of Super Eagles that will even turn up. And right now, fine, there have been changes made to most of the players that participated in that World Cup qualifiers, and now we are seeing, I mean, some new faces, the likes of Salim Fago, and that's the squad, the likes of Paul Onuachu, who is also coming back, though he had, let me say, an unimpressive performance up against Egypt. That is a pre-season and pre-Afcon tournaments. Now going into the Afcon, we have likes of Tochukwu Nadia as well, who is also a new face.
Usman Mohammed.
Yeah, Usman Mohammed, 31 years old, now coming to make his Super Eagles debut at the Afcon. Yes, a lot of questions, but we are going up against the Tanzanians, who also have good players. That's Zumbwana Samantha, their captain, who used to play for Aston Villa. Tunisia as well, I mean, you could see what they did during the World Cup qualifiers. 22 goals scored, 0 conceded. They gave Brazil a run for their money in their friendly. I'm sure that the coach is leading them to a very, very good place, and they will show that also. Yes, you remember how they knocked us, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, out right there in 2021 with that goal, that error from Amadika Okoye. Nigeria and Tunisia, they are not strangers. We met 2004. You remember that Osaze Odering game, missed penalty where they went on to win. 2006, we met them again where we defeated them. Nigeria and Tunisia, you could know that we are like, I don't know, we are not friends and we are not enemies either when it comes to the Afcon. But then we are now finding ourselves in the same group again. It is all about what is Eric Chelsea's style of play. What level of Super Eagles are going to turn up? For me, it's an open group. And if you ask me who is going to top the group, I won't tell you.
You've always chosen to be evasive. Maiwa, let's look at the group again. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, the Tanzanians, and of course, the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia. There are actually no strange bets in this group when it comes to Afcon with the Super Eagles. It's always the games. It's always the game of Eagles. And of course, when two Eagles clash, it's always going to be very, very huge. Maiwa, tell us who is definitely going to actually pick the 2 tickets in this particular group, and then look at the chance of the Super Eagles making it all the way to the final. But then let's start from qualifying for the group first. Can the Super Eagles actually make it out of this group? Former Super Eagles international, former Nigerian international, I beg your pardon, person of Shola Miobi once said that the Super Eagles' chance of going to the World Cup is going to be determined by the game against Uganda. That Uganda is going to spring a lot of surprise. Nigeria should not take them for granted. Tell me, is Uganda going to be the dark horse of that particular group?
Well, let me take you to the World Cup qualifying group. Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, South Africa, Nigeria had to wait on Eritrea to drop and before it even qualify for the playoffs. That's how bad Nigeria is at the moment. And the honest truth. The thing is this, even the stories behind the scene are not encouraging, and that goes to play on on the psyche of the players. A lot of them are not talking about it. We focus more on the performance on the field of play. Sometimes if you get it wrong in the back room, it affects everything that happens on the field of play. Now, looking at that particular team, the Ugandans, they are a team that can, spring up surprises. We have Tanzania, who can hold their own and surprise anybody. Definitely, Tunisia is topping that group. The person that will follow them, I'm not sure. If Nigerians get their act together, if we're able to sort out our backroom issues, and we can, improve the psyche of the players and get our act together on the we might be surprised that we might end up, fighting for, a best spot in that particular group. So I would say Tunisia first. The other two follow, or the person that will come second, I really do not know, to be honest.
Interesting how the Super Eagles have really, really dropped in terms of, rating. And of course, these guys talking about the Super Eagles this way make me even scared of what's going to come out, this particular championship. But if there's anything I know about the Super Eagles, it is when the chips are down. It is when people really, really don't believe in the Super Eagles. That's when the Super Eagles will definitely rise to the occasion. Let's look at Group D. Yes, the Group D is another very interesting group. The group that comprises Senegal, DR Congo, Benin Republic, and Botswana. And of course, that, yes, DR Congo one particular team that you don't want to actually joke with. They actually defeated the Super Eagles. They stopped the Super Eagles from going to the World Cup, the ticket, that playoff game.
Have they stopped them?
Well, technically at this point, until FIFA rules otherwise, at this point, it's still very much DR Congo that is going to represent Africa. So let's keep it at that. Right. So let's look at this particular group. Who is going to make it out of this group?
For me, I think Senegal. Senegal should make it out of the group. I mean, they still have fantastic players too. The likes of Sadio Mane is still there. Lamine Camara is also there. Papi Gueye, Iliman Ndiaye. Exciting players, and trust me, if there is a national team right there at the Afcon that can actually blend the names with playing as a team, is Senegal. We saw the way they did it in 2021. They are fantastic. That's talking about the Senegalese. And also Botswana, well, maybe you can give them the outside chance. But what I don't want a lot of people to make a mistake about is there will be no whipping boys at this Afcon. There will be no whipping boys. I think everybody is a level playing field. We mentioned Mohamed Salah earlier. We saw how sometimes he struggles when it comes to it is the Afcon. This is not European football right now. It is, how would I put it, that it's bone for bone. It is, Africa for African. Let's just put it that way. And I think DR Congo as well, yes, we saw what they did. They are still not taking the likes of Yohan Wissa, who they've asked him to focus on his club football with Newcastle, is now back. But they have good players, Sedi Bakambu, Fisti Mayele, who plays for Pyramids of Egypt as well, and he was the top scorer of the CAF Champions League. So I think all around they also have good players. I think for now they should focus on the Afcon and keep that outside noise of their World Cup qualifiers. That one is aside. Let them focus on what they have at the Afcon. So I think for me, maybe now I can give you the teams that can actually come out of this group, and I would say, I'm not forgetting Benin Republic. They also have good players. We saw how they played against us as well during the World Cup qualifier. They defeated Super Eagles, but ultimately lost again, and they still have Tosin Ayegun in their squad. So for me, I think it's going to be Senegal and let's say DR Congo coming out of this group.
Maiwa, the 2021 champions are rebuilding with both seasoned veterans and emerging stars looking to replicate their 2021 success. I'm talking about Senegal in this particular point. And don't forget that Republic of Benin are always shown that when it comes to Afcon, they're a team that should be respected. I mean, I feel it's talked about DR Congo's chance of making it out of this particular group. The last time they won this particular championship was 1974, and the defender was a star in that particular championship, going to that particular championship. I talked about him. Semini Buenga was African Footballer of the Year in 1973, and now we also have a star in the making in this DR Congo in person of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Manchester United legend, and of course, it's going to be a huge game. But Maiwa, tell us for free, is this going to happen? Can they actually go all the way? Can they come out of this particular group as group winners, for starters?
That's not quite something. One actually legend. If we give one the second legend, then God legend does not mean anything again. So it's not a legend. If it's a legend, he will not be playing for West Ham. But in any case, I'm not to drag us back. I think if we don't resolve this controversy surrounding the players, I hope they don't get to forfeit the Nations Cup because I think the FIFA come out and rule against them based on the allegation and the same players that we're talking about are part of the Nations Cup. Then that might cause a whole lot of controversy. But outside the controversy, I think they have a lot of quality. We saw what they did to Nigeria. We saw what they did to Cameroon. They outplayed Nigeria in that particular game. And in their group, they were unfortunate that they didn't get the automatic ticket because, I mean, they played so well in the Afcon qualifying group. And it's a testament to the kind of players, they've been able to deploy, they've been able to produce, and those players have been able to turn things around for them. For the Senegalese side, they are not short of talent. Every year they keep producing talent. Yet, yes, there was a time of rebuilding, and after the 2021, victory, they've started rebuilding, and we are beginning to see the result of the rebuilding. They are the World Cup, and the team is now a mix of younger players and more experienced players, which is a right mix. So for me in that particular group, there's a DR Congo. Probably a DR Congo comes first because against Senegal, I think they have enough quality to beat the Senegalese side. So DR Congo first, Senegal second. Then Benin Republic might be looking around for a best third position. Has done a very good job with the Benin. Apart from the fact that we're able to dispatch them or in that last game. Until that last game, they also had an equal opportunity to qualify for the playoff in that particular group. And that's a testament to the kind of, quality and to the kind of, harmony that our former coach has been able to bring to that particular team. So I will not count them out. They are a potential candidate for a best top position in that particular group.
All right, absolutely. Let's go straight to Group E. Yes, 2019 champions Algeria, Burkina Faso 2013 runner-up, and Equatorial Guinea with Sudan in that particular group. Who makes it out of that particular group?
Well, this is another tough group. And finally, yes, Algeria, the 2019 champions, like you said, still having the likes of Riyad Mahrez also in the squad, likes of Mohamed Amoura, Ilian Kebar, who plays for Paris FC. I was also looking towards Houssem Aouar, who has been doing well for Al Ittihad, but unfortunately is injured and is being replaced by Imad Abdelli. I think this time, Algeria has been a team, I think since they won that 2019, Afcon, a lot of people have not really fancied them anymore, and they've not really done well for themselves in, follow-up Afcons. But I think this time around, they should be able to do something. And this is another group where I would say, if you follow African football very well, you will enjoy the level of players that are actually coming back home to play at this AFCON. Burkina Faso, they have players at the likes of Traore, who used to play for Aston Villa. Dango Ouattara, who plays for Brentford, is also from Burkina Faso. You remember in 2013, you remember Bans, right? But this time they have, let me say, better players. Yeah, you remember Bans and Mayowa, and they still have good players. You remember
they also have Jonathan
Petroipa,
was the best player in that particular 2013 African Football Cup of Nations. Yeah.
So there's a lot of storyline. Maybe Sudan might be the team that is less fancied. But trust me, this is AFCON. This is Africa. And players will actually come out to play. Equatorial Guinea, the top scorer of the last AFCON, Emilio Nsue, who used to play for Spanish under-20 team, actually played against Nigeria in 2009 and scored a goal. I think he will also want to see this as an opportunity to, maybe get more goals for his team. Nobody fancied them to actually do well and also get those goals from Nsue, but they did. And this AFCON in 2025 is another platform for them to do it again.
Wow, another platform for Equatorial Guinea, he said. But tell me about this particular group. What's going to be the surprise package of this group?
It surprised my pop-up. Remember, Nsue, defender, top striker for Equatorial Guinea, was the top goal scorer in the last Nations Cup. So I decided to perform the magic again. However, Algeria has been, they've been going through a process of rebuilding since that 2019 tournament. Things have not been, so well for them in terms of the national team. They are going through a process of rebuilding, and they've been able to scale to qualify for the World Cup, and now they can focus on the Nations Cup. So they have enough quality. There's the experience. Riyad Mahrez bringing in his experience, with the younger players joining him to be able to see what they can do in that particular tournament. So I think they have enough quality to top that particular group. I will not write off Sudan. If you are seeing the Sudan side, you are seeing the side, you are seeing Almeric, and we know what Almeric can do on the in CAF competitions. They are one of the toughest sides to beat in CAF competition. And majority of the Sudanese side, majority of the players in the Sudanese national team, they come from Almeric. So I will not want to write them off because of because of the issues going on in the country. Football is not consistent and just that. But I will not want to write them off. Sudan is a team that can shock anybody. There is a Burkina Faso who is rising again. A whole lot of there's a Traore who is now a veteran. He has been part of the team for over 11 years, and he brings a whole lot of experience. And I think that comes to bear. So for that group, I think it's going to be Algeria. Then the second spot is going to be between a Burkina Faso and a Sudan, because I wouldn't want to write a Sudan off in that particular group.
Let's go straight to Group F. Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Gabon, Mozambique, and this is going to be another very interesting group. Cameroon and Côte d'Ivoire, these are teams that have won the last, I think in the last 5 years, they both won, the championship. And not forget, last 5 editions, I beg your pardon. Yeah. And of course, the defending champion is Côte d'Ivoire. So tell me.
This is a group of storylines, Ikechukwu. I mean, first of all, I'll say it's the Nigeria derby, the Super Eagles of Nigeria derby. Why? Because Super Eagles of Nigeria lost to the defending champions Ivory Coast at the last AFCON. Up against Gabon, we saw how they defeated them when they were going for the World Cup qualifiers. And also a potential Intercontinental Cup place qualifiers might be going on up against Cameroon. So we know each other. It is the Super Eagles derby for me. But on the more serious note, I think this is a very, very open group. And also, let me say on the sad side, this is a group of storylines. Cameroon, do they have the final squad now? That's the question. which squad did they go with? The Eto'o squad or the Marco Bryce squad? And also Ivory Coast, when Nicolas Pepe said what he said and then they dropped him out of the squad. I mean, this is not what we want to be seeing when we are building up for a big tournament. But don't rule out Mozambique, because the likes of Jenny Katamo, who plays for Sporting CP, is there, and he's a very, very, very good winger. He knows how to play his football, and they also will be posing the oldest player at this year's tournament. That's talking about Elias Gaspar Pelembe. Yes, he plays for Mozambique, and he will be there at 42. I think this is going to be a very, very open group. Anybody can qualify, anybody can top.
Maiwa, your best two out of this group?
I think so. The Ivory Coast organized. I'm not surprised if Cameroon is kicked out. So I might even be tipping, a Gabon or a Mozambique ahead of Cameroon, because Cameroon right now there's a lot of infighting. We saw the infighting play out throughout the qualifiers. The infighting has plagued the team. We don't even know the final list. We don't know whether it's going to be the one for Eto'o or the one for the coach. So we don't know at the moment. So there's a lot of infighting, and I think that will probably come back to haunt them. So it's going to be a Côte d'Ivoire, because they are well organized and they're defending champions. And I probably want to be looking at a Gabonese side, then probably closely followed by Mozambique side. I will not be surprised if Cameroon is knocked out in the group phase.
Wow, you'll not be surprised Cameroon is knocked out in the group. So let's take our attention away from the Premier League as we rush through to the English Premier League. Let's get to see what's going to happen. It's match day 17 of the English Premier League. And of course, a lot of fixtures to be expected in that particular one. Goodison Park, where Arsenal will be traveling to Everton to play against, that side. And of course, it's going to be a very interesting one. They will definitely be playing after City has actually done business against West Ham right there at the Etihad. If City wins, it's going to be a lot of pressure for Arsenal. Last week, it was Arsenal that played for City, chased the pressure. It's going to be a huge one. Tottenham Hotspur is also going to be a very, very difficult game for Liverpool. I don't know how that one is going to pan out, but just tell us, this Premier League fixtures, what do we expect Match 17?
Yeah, it is a pressure at the top two in big games. But yes, City are at home up against the West Ham, and you expect them to dispatch West Ham with the level of form they are in right now. The likes of Ryan Sheki playing really well. Phil Foden looks back to his best, and Erling Haaland also, how he does what Erling Haaland does. I think City are going to do well to dispatch West Ham. I don't see West Ham actually springing up any surprises, but I think where the surprise would be at the Dickinson Stadium. Everton up against Arsenal. I mean, Everton can be very, very stubborn at home. The likes of Jack Grealish. Unfortunately, they don't have Iliman Ndiaye, who is actually going for the Afcon. Tieno Barry is still there with them as well, and also the likes of Kenan Jusbio. But I think Arsenal will have enough, because Everton, we saw that game against Chelsea, their most recent game, and they didn't really do too well. I think Arsenal, they know what's at stake, and they will go out there and do what's right. Liverpool against Tottenham should be the game of the weekend. Absolutely.
Maiwa, run us through this particular match 17 as you give us a parting shot.
Two things. This is a perfect weekend for Arsenal to mess up. They've not been convincing the last couple of games that they've played. And if we are being honest, I think when the pressure is too much, they tend to cave under pressure. So that game is going to be a good watch. I'm hoping Arsenal comes out top, because I don't want the league to end right now. So if they don't come out very well in that particular game, a draw takes away the league from them. So they have to be very careful. Another interesting game will be Tottenham against Liverpool. For the sake of Jerry, I want the Liverpool side to win. However, they are not out of the poor performance yet. The performance has not been convincing. They are also playing the Tottenham that their performance has not been consistent. They have been inconsistent with their performances. So it's a game that can swing anywhere. But I think the momentum is behind the Liverpool side, and we might see Liverpool probably take out a Tottenham in that particular game.
Thank you very much, Maiwa. Thank you very much, Hafiz, for being part of this edition of Locker Room. This is exactly where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's episode. You've heard it from the guys. They've told us exactly what to expect from the group. Afcon, 2 days from time, definitely we'll be coming back here. Afcon is already on the way. And of course, it's going to be Tuesday where the Super Eagles will be doing business against Typhus, team of Zambia. Tanzania, when that game comes, definitely we'll be here to tell you exactly how it unfolds. But here is where we'll definitely be saying it's another day to actually say goodbye here. But of course, do not go anywhere, because the next show is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. I say, see you next time. Don't go nowhere.
we encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms